So this is my burn it down deck. So I'm trying to figure out what name. It basically token burn. So we got some burn elements in the deck, as well as we have the ability to create a whole bunch of tokens, and then of course we have the protector shield to protect our planeswalkers and our tokens. Because the idea was that I saw somebody playing Roll-On, and they were using burn spells, counter spells, stuff like that. It was obviously a Izzet deck. It was interesting of an idea of using her to burn. She also makes your spells cheaper, so you're using all these cheap spells and stuff, and you're just using her to burn. It's like, oh, that's cool. The thing is, you can only have one of her in play, so you don't get to stack her to do more damage. But you could play, as you can see I'm doing here, is I'm playing. Oh, part of why there's tokens obviously is for defense, to protect the planeswalkers, because your opponent can't directly attack the planeswalkers. So the idea is to use the tokens to protect the planeswalker, but also be able to do damage. But as you can see, I had both Morin Roll-On, right, and I had Chandra ready, dressed to kill, because they both have similar effects. They both can do 1 damage to the opponent. The added benefit, so I can have one of each, so that way I have the ability to burn my opponent for 2 damage a turn if I have them in play, as opposed to just 1 damage a turn. So it will take me about 10 turns, right, just with their effects alone, to win me the game, if my opponent doesn't gain no life, obviously, right? Then 20 turns. It's like trying to win in 20 turns with Roll-On is not optimal. But being able to use her in combination with Chandra, the goal is to get your opponent down at least to 10. I was like, instead of trying to do a lot of battle damage and some burn damage and try to win that way, it's like, alright, let me just do the basic thing. Get my opponent down to 10, and then end my opponent out with Crackle of Power. Granted, there's only 2 copies of Crackle of Power in the deck, but you only need 1, as your win con. There's multiple things in here you can use, obviously. But here you're seeing the strategy of using the tokens from the burn down the house. So burn it down, right? The burn it down token burn, and using as you can see adversary, the white adversary, to boost up all the tokens. So that's a basic combo in the deck. So moving on, so you got to see that basic combo where we have the wedding announcement, enchantment power, and giving +1/+1 to all my creatures. I use the tokens, burn down the house to create tokens, and use the tokens along with adversary, intrepid adversary, to boost them up. And preferably you want to do it when you have like six or more energy, because you get more power that way. So this was an interesting match to see an 11-10 hit the field so quickly. Like, okay. So of course I'm just keeping my defenses up, got my shields up, got my tokens generating. I'm slowly building up. As you can see, I got 2 cards that can generate me more tokens. So I bring out this, so we know what I can do with that later. So right off the bat, make a token, and my turn, get another token, and then the power boost. So now all my tokens, my 1/1 tokens, will now be 2/2s. So now I got 8 damage on board. I'm now on 6 energy, so I make this to give them all powered up. So now they're all 3 power in attack. Then I play Intrepid Adversary, which for some reason, oh yeah, no, it did it right this time. There was another time where for some reason the auto pay didn't pay for it properly, and I ended up not getting the full boost I wanted. But you can see I got 4 of my tokens up to 5 power each, which 4 times 5 is 20. And my opponent for some reason couldn't block or just didn't want to, and just allowed me to swing for game. So it just shows a basic thing that you can do with the deck. So you can see that making tokens and then powering them up through Zariel, the Archduke of Avernus, right? And then along with Intrepid Adversary can make a pretty strong board. So of course we're setting up our token generators because our opponent has a 5/5 we need to defend against. We already have a Doomscar out of play. Granted, I could have just played the Doomscar, but using Doomscar on just 1/5/5 is not much value. Doomscar is too valuable to waste it on a single 5/5. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm gonna just stall with the wedding announcements. 1, because I want more lands, but 2 is I want him to put more creatures in play, not just that 1/5/5. So that way my board wipe, my Doomscar gets more value out of it. I don't want to kill just one creature with a board wipe, right? So obviously I could just keep chump blocking at 5/5 with my 1/1s. Now he's starting to play stuff like good. Now I'm gonna start getting some value. So now I finally got a land, so I can put my shields up. So there we go. So now if he starts playing a whole bunch of 1/1s and starts swinging at me with a couple 1/1s, then I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about them stopping me. Let's move this up a notch because I don't know why that's stalling. Since I'm getting 2 tokens at the end of the turn, I have no problem attacking. And if he blocks, that'd be pointless. But he didn't block, so the attack went through. So I was able to get some damage to go through there. Alright, so now I have 3 2/2s. And then they will become 3/3s the next turn, because both my enchantments will give +1/+1 to all my creatures. So it's +2/+2 to all my creatures. Of course, my Protector Shield prevents 1 damage to each of my creatures, plus it gives them Ward 1 essentially. So it costs 1 more to play that little kill spell. So it's definitely going to slow my opponent down from being able to play multiple cards in a turn. Again, we're not afraid of that 1/1 because it can't deal us damage, so we don't have to worry about it. So we'll block the 5/5. I was debating, I was like, I could take the 5 damage. I haven't taken damage yet, I could take it. But it's like, why? I know the idea is to keep the tokens in place so that way I can power them up with Intrepid Adversary and, swing all at once for games, so I could let my opponent swing at me. Plus, my Protector Shield reduces 1 damage from the card's attack. So, one of the cool things about the Protector Shield is because his rat can't deal damage, because it prevents the 1 damage. Since it never deals damage, the Death Touch doesn't trigger. See? So it having Death Touch is irrelevant because it has to actually at least do 1 damage for the Death Touch to trigger, and my artifact prevents that 1 damage. So I was able to get rid of that potential threat, and now I set up my other Doomscar so I can play for cheap later. And now I got my 4/4, which now is a 5/5. So see, my tokens are 3/3s. My flyer is a 5/5 with lifelink. Of course, he gets rid of it, and that effect doesn't target. So he didn't have to pay the extra for it. So that's a really good card. So it sucks that I lost my creature, but my creature now is from, I could play it from my graveyard as an equip card and turn any of my creatures into essentially a copy of it. So I could turn any of my tokens into a copy of that thing. So now I finally take the 4 damage. So good thing I didn't take some earlier. 2, 4, 6. So I use this and power up. Okay, so now I'm a 6/6 flying with lifelink. So I can gain life, and I can do this every turn. So I have no problem him attacking me for 4 damage every turn, because as you can see, he's a 13. But then my opponent does this, so good for them. Because I was going to attack every turn, gain life, attack every turn, gain life. And so I was going to deal him more damage than he can deal me. Then I was like, all right, finally, board wipe. Even though I'm getting rid of just one, it's like, like, I'm getting tired of this. I have enough mana. Let me start making some tokens. I have enough mana for Intrepid Adversary. Now I just need to make more tokens and then do the Zariel and Intrepid Adversary, power boost strategy, and just wipe out my opponent. So he tries to pay extra. He kills my Planeswalker. I thought he was going to do my creature, but he did the Planeswalker instead. It's like, okay, good for you. It's like, all right, bring this out. Swing. Opponent's at 10. So now they're in kill range for Crackle of Power. And I'm 1 land away from playing Crackle of Power. So let's see what happens. Play this. Obviously, it makes tokens. Under the right condition, that could deal 7 damage. So, depending on what happens here. He locks that. I kill his creature. Oh, he got power boost, so he was able to survive. Good for him. I forgot about that. But I have the ability to do 7 damage, so I do it to my opponent, and GG. So you see, I had some other way to win. Right, next game. Wait, this looks like the same game. I think I accidentally pressed game 3. Yeah, sorry. Alright, so this is game 4. So you can see my opponent already has some stuff on board swinging at me. I'm like, yeah, time to board wipe on turn 3. I need 1 more red mana in order to play my Uprising. There's the red mana, so now I could play the Uprising, but instead I play that. I put up my shield. But when I'm thinking about it, it's like, why did I not play the mountain? But oh well. Obviously I'll play it next turn, but surprised I didn't play that turn. I think it was because I was like, you know what, I'm not going to play Uprising because he has a flyer, and the token won't be able to protect me, so I might as well put up the shield instead, because the shield will protect me. My opponent's taking a little bit long to make his play. He drops a 3/3, attacks me for 1, because I prevent 1 damage, obviously. I kill his 3/3. I go grab something. So I grabbed the Mascot Exhibition, because obviously I would like to play that. So I would like to Doomscar 1 turn, right? The following turn, play Mascot Exhibition. The following turn, right? And then the turn after that, the turn in which I can attack with the Mascot Exhibition tokens, play Intrepid Adversary to boost them up and, swing for a lot of damage. And the sooner I do that, the better, because clearly my opponent is, gaining life left and right. Look how much power boost he's getting. Good thing I have my protector shield up to reduce a lot of the damage, but I'm already I'm already at 6 life, so it's like, yeah, gotta board wipe. Sooner the better, right? So finally got to board wipe. I still need 2 more energy, 2 more lands in order to play Mascot Exhibition, but of course I could start playing Uprising and start building up a couple tokens that way. Here's a Doomscar. So the thing what I do here, is that I play that, so that way I can bring out the token. That's a really interesting card there. A 113 for 5 counter to play tap. That is adorable. The toughness on it is ridiculous. Of course, he's taking a while to make some plays, but he's playing some stuff that only has 1 power, so clearly he's not going to be doing no damage. I put out my flyer out there. He got a flyer, he attacks, I block, no damage is dealt. I can now do a wedding announcement because I'm not drawing any lands, so it's like, alright, I'm gonna have to build up tokens on the board slowly. So I gotta start putting up some tokens here, little by little, and then do the Intrepid Adversary. So, but my opponent's life points keep getting higher and higher, so that's gonna become a problem. So skips a couple steps. I board wipe, and that triggers and resolves 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I finally got to 7 mana. I still got the wedding out here putting out tokens. So next turn I'll be able to play Mascot Exhibition. Then the following turn after that I should be able to do Intrepid Adversary and be able to do a lot of damage. And then eventually, if my opponent's low enough, 10 life, 10 or less life, I should be able to crack with power, right? Because all I need is 1 more land so I can have 8 lands. So the goal is always to get to 8 lands so crack with power can do 10 damage. So I go with the Mascot Exhibition so I can build up my board. And my turn, get another token and the power boost. So now you see I have a pretty strong board. Next turn, do the whole, if I get an extra land, that'd be nice to have 8 lands, so that way I can do Intrepid's ability 3 times. I think this is where I do get the land, I do the Intrepid thing, but I don't get the full power out of it. See, I do get a land. I don't get the full power out of it because for some reason the auto pay didn't properly pay. I know it did technically, it technically paid properly, I think. But anyway, as long as I +2/+2, plus the enchantment, so that's +3 to everything. So +3 to everything ain't bad. And my opponent let a lot of that damage go through. I'm at 6 life. Obviously, he swings to go for game. He has a dual attack, so the idea is that he expects to win, but he doesn't realize that I'm well aware of the life gain aspect. So it's like, okay, I block his strongest creature, right? So he attacks twice. I have life gain. Boom. So you see I'm at 6 and I survived the turn. So he expected to win, but he doesn't. And GG. Boom. So, and there you go. Learning is half the battle. So life link. The Protector Shield, which obviously reduces damage by 1. You know, plays a lot of... It does a lot. So it gives me great power. Let's get out of there. And here's the 5th and final game. This is against blue-green. I think there was white in that deck. Something like that. It's blue-green. I don't think he got much of anything. He has Divide by Zeros. He plays it after my wedding announcement triggers to do the token. He could have did it when I was playing it, but he waits until it makes a token to actually bounce it to my hand. He playing Eureka with Moment. I get another wedding. So I'm trying to think, what do I end up doing? Pretty much playing the wedding again. Making more tokens. My opponent's searching out for lands. So he's building up his mana base. Oop. I play my land. I start tapping. I'm trying to make sure that the auto tapper doesn't mess up. Try to make sure I use 2 reds and 1 white to play this. Waiting to see if my opponent has a response. He does. He has Divide by 0, so that's unfortunate and annoying. Because the idea was I was going to play that and then use the ability to make sure I can play my wedding announcement or my Catilda, Dawnheart, Martyr, and just be able the ability to play 2 cards in a turn, turning 5 mana into 6 mana essentially, right? Because Chandra kind of Dress to Kill kind of acts as mana ramp. Her ability to give me 1 red mana and burn my opponent for 1 is useful. So I tend to try to get her out there as soon as possible so I can use her ramp. So now I'm at 6. With Chandra, technically I have 7. So I could play Chandra and then play Zariel in the same turn just for 6 mana, because I use Chandra to get me the extra red mana that I need to play the Zariel. So I do the effect, deal 1.1 damage, get the 1 red, and now I can play Zariel if I want, or I can go into another wedding. I go into Azariel. I think here I'm going to use the +1 ability. Just waiting to see if my opponent has a response. Yeah, he has Divide by 0. It's like, so annoying. Stopping me from playing the game. It's like, I have no problem you bouncing something off the field after I played it. I have a problem with, I'm trying to play it and then bang, the game stops and it's like, okay, I gotta wait until my opponent decides what they're gonna do, and then they counter. It's like, oh, that's it? This whole time I've been waiting just for you to counter. It's like, that's so annoying. In real life, it's faster. It's like, I'm playing this, any response? And then the person's like, yeah. And they counter, or they'll be like, no. And then we move on. The game just stops, and I have to wait until my opponent realizes they can try to stop me, especially if they don't know how to play the game right, but they're playing a deck that's counters, right? That's for a different conversation. But the point is, it just gets annoying. It's like, I'd rather have a back and forth where you let me play my cards, you get rid of them, I have no problem you destroying them. That's the concept, going back and forth. I play cards, you play cards, and we go back and forth, break each other's boards. That's fun. That's a game. I hate the whole, I try to play the game and you stop me. I try to play the game and you stop me. It's like, no. Counters shouldn't be a thing, but oh well. I don't create games, I just play them. But I never agree with the idea of countering. Interrupts, I'd rather somebody lightning bolt than to counterspell, you know what I'm saying? Like if I play something and then you just play kill someone, kill it, it's like, alright, you got that. You were prepared. You were ready for me to play something. But I actually had to play it. Not that I'm like, I'm going to play this, and you're like, stop. I don't want you to play that. It's like, oh my god. Shittiest way of playing. And then, you know, bad players tend to be the ones that like stuff like that. Like counter spells. Like stopping their opponent from being able to play the game. Of course, that was a bad choice. Again, that doesn't stop me from ultimate power. Of course, I got game here. That's all I was trying to do, was just try to get more tokens out there and then power them up and then go for game. So, as you can see, that's the token. That's the token spam. That's the end of the video.